So people were really mad that Playboy Cudi didn't drop his album today. And you know what? Good. I hope that album that he got on whatever hard drive it is, I hope it goes down. I hope it burns in a wildfire out there in California. So maybe he can think to himself, I should learn how to rap. What up YouTube, Topaz Jace back for another review, and this one's to that Kid Cudi Man on the Moon 3. And before we jump into this review, first I gotta give you context. First I gotta tell you everything that I thought about leading up to this project so you can understand my whole mindset. But if you feel as though that you know everything there is to know about Kid Cudi, then feel free to fast forward to this point here. But where do we start? So this is Kid Cudi's third iteration of this project that happened about 10 years ago. And I will say that that's red flag number 1. Now, either he is taking his time to make this into a masterpiece, or he's been wasting everybody's time and really haven't been doing anything at all for all this time period, and this project is going to be garbage. And for the most part, people who bring back older titles that they did when they were younger and stuff to re-infuse the fan base to keep on listening to what they listen to, odds are it doesn't end well. And to keep it 100 with you, I have never been a huge fan of Kid Cudi. Like going back to Man on the Moon 1 and 2 and all of that, I've always respected the man for what he's delivered, especially seeing as though he's influenced the culture to this point right now where you see guys like XXXTentacion, in which he died, but yet he was super influenced by Kid Cudi, and he was to the forefront of this generation. So you cannot take away from anything that Kid Cudi has done for this culture, especially as he pioneered the fact of being able to speak about mental diseases and things of this nature that most rappers never really do, because most rappers are always supposed to just tell you about how sweet life is. But let's not deny the last few times that we've heard from Kid Cudi, it wasn't that good. Like the Kid See Ghosts with Kanye West joint that he did for the Surgical Summer, that was nothing but a bunch of rushed albums back to back to back, in which none of them were actually all that good. I mean, his last legit solo album was 2016 with that Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying, and I wasn't all that impressed with that. But this leads us to this point here, where it's either put up or shut up. Is this album that good to conclude a trilogy that everyone is so fond of right now? I will say yes. Like, this project is easily the best of the 3. From the way that he put it together, as he's giving nods to a bunch of his other albums, but yet it's only nods. It's not, oh, I did this album or whatever. No, he's tying it all together in a nice ribbon. Like how the intro of this is just a variation of the intro from his very first project, or how in his verses he will touch on these other projects, but he won't overtly push you in that direction. How he continues songs like that Mr. Solo Dolo 3, which that was one of my favorite songs off this project, and that is easily the best of the series. And the second one, I do believe, had Kendrick Lamar on the joint, but yet it stayed true to the whole concept of the entire tracks, where he's just going in on the loneliness that he continues to have to go through. My next favorite song would be that Damage, where Damage, it just got that solid flow, delivery, and production all the way around, as it just ties in so nicely with the whole concept of the entire project. And we're going to touch on the concept a bit later. My next favorite song would be that September 16th, where this is him giving a love song to his woman, which is dope because not a lot of rappers can actually pull this off in a quality way, but yet him being in touch with all of his emotions and not being ashamed of who he is, that makes this that much easier for him, and it is a solid track. As September 16th is his girlfriend's birthday, I do believe, where the basic concept of this one is talking about how he loves his woman so much and she can tend to bring him back. My next favorite song would be The Void, where this one is him going into the depression again and talking about how he's fighting to get up out of that joint. These songs alone were good, without the need of an overarching premise that ties them all together, where a bunch of MCs kind of mess it up. Like individuals say J. Cole, and I'm not dissing J. Cole by no means, because he's created some great music himself. But yet this is one thing that J. Cole hasn't done as well as this project, where you have an overarching theme, but yet you still have individual songs that don't need that theme in order for the whole project to be good. And we're going to break down everything that ties this together in the next segment, the bars. Kid Cudi to a sherry wine. A sherry wine is pretty much a alternative to what cognac is, especially when you see the style in which Kid Cudi brings to the table is alternative hip-hop. It isn't focused on punchlines or things of that nature. It's more focused on story-driven and alternative styles, from the production to his delivery and things. It's not the same of what you usually would get from a hip-hop album. So in terms of this album, man, it's not about the potency of the bars. It's more of the complexity of the songs and the theme that puts it all together. And the way that Kid Cudi breaks this down is in 4 acts. And the first act is the return of the madness in the first beginning tracks, where he's going in talking about the lifestyle of the life that he has to live as a rapper. You gotta be out there being seen, doing the party life, have the women, the drugs, the drinking, the everything that the rap life that everybody wants to have. The second act is the consequences of this lifestyle as it's applied to his mindset that is obviously vulnerable to begin with. Like, he shouldn't be doing this because there's going to be side effects. Which brings us to the third act, where he falls into his depression that he was going to fall into regardless. And in this project, he gives us the origin story to his depression, where it all really came from him dealing with death. And I won't spoil it for those who haven't listened to it or broke it down, but he tells us exactly why in his prelude song where his depression really came from. And he closes out this act with the song September 16th and stuff, like how his girlfriend is what helps him come back, and how the void is how he's fighting to get his way up out of this. And that leads us to the fourth act, where it's more of just an epilogue, where he's just throwing in some songs that really don't tie into the story so much, but yet it's more of him just showing us, okay, as a man that has survived this and made it to where I'm at right now, I can be an example to the youth that are struggling with the same exact things. Overall, well done. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed a bunch of these songs. Don't necessarily need the story in order to make the songs worthwhile. It was a good tie-in to the other two, even though this one is a superior project to it. Now, personally, I don't feel as though he should try to make another one. I think he should end it here and begin something else, because I don't know if there's any room for him to do it any better. But I would like to see him try, though, while we at it, though. Why not? You've created something really good here. Let's see if he can double down and make it even better. But I don't think he can. That's my whole thing. But overall, man, a solid project. One of the better ones this year, man. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. One you should definitely go ahead and peep on out.